Hi, this is Matt Ingram with a quick review of the results from Exam 1. Here are some summary statistics of how everyone did on the exam. As you will quickly notice, I'm using the very same language and measures that we've covered in the first couple of chapters of Pollack's Essentials of Political Analysis, and that you're learning how to generate yourself this week using R. Specifically, I've used the frequency, describe, and summary commands in R to generate measures of central tendency and dispersion. So the mean of the scores in this exam is 82.3. Just a quick review, I can use the mean with the scores in this exam because this is data measured at the interval level, right? Theoretically from 0 to 100, measuring exact differences between scores. We can also generate a median. 87.3 is the score that splits the distribution of exam scores exactly in half. So half the class did better than 87.3 and half the class did worse than 87.3. Recalling some of the other concepts that we've covered already on Pollack, there's a slight negative skew to the distribution of exam scores, and we know this because the mean is lower than the median. Specifically 82.3, the mean is lower than 87.3, the median. So these are some numbers that if someone were to ask me how are students doing in the class, these are some numbers that I might use to summarize how students are doing in this class, right? The central tendency give a picture of what the typical student is doing, or how the typical student is performing in class. We might want to supplement measures of central tendency with dispersion. And here are some data to show basically the range of students, right? 62.2, or a D, is the lowest score, or was the lowest score on the exam, and the highest score on the exam was 356 out of 370, or 96.2%. We can also plot the scores from the exam, again using the histogram command from R. The WTD stands for weighted histogram. You can use this command with weighted or unweighted data, as noted by Pollack in the R companion, which you should have seen already by now. You should have completed chapters 1 and chapter 2 yesterday. So this is the distribution of the scores that we've just seen. We might call this possibly bimodal, since there's a sort of stack of scores on the low end and a stack of scores on the high end, but it looks like most of the scores are up on the high end. Again, most students appear to have gotten above a 90, or the most frequent scores were up above 90. Again, half the class, if we recall the median, half the class was above 87.3. We could also plot these scores, as Pollack suggests in one of his examples in Essentials of Political Analysis, against homework scores, or how, on average, students have been doing on the homework assignments, and whether this is related in any way or to how they did on the exam score. Here in this plot you see average homework scores. This is points obtained on discussions as well as points obtained on the homework assignments on the horizontal x-axis, and on the vertical y-axis you see students' corresponding exam scores. So down on the lower left corner we see a few students, or two students, who haven't been getting very many points on the homework and have also done relatively, or have the lower scores on the exam, and several students up on the top right. Sort of if we move our view up to the top right hand corner, we see several students who have been doing fairly well on the homework and did relatively well on the exam. There's a few scores that don't quite line up in this pattern that we would expect perhaps to see from the lower left corner traveling up to the upper right hand corner, and we could speculate or hypothesize other reasons that might be accounting for this. And again, this is using the same kinds of commands that you're learning right now, that you're being exposed to in the R companion workbook, specifically the plot command. A couple of comments just overall about the exam. I will be curving the exam scores, all of the exams, all three exams. So for exam 1, since the maximum score was 96.2% or 356, that will be the new maximum against which everyone else's scores will be adjusted. And I will also be curving homework exams. Several folks are doing very well on the homework exams, so I don't expect the homework to be curved that much. Just want to emphasize one more time that especially in this kind of 4-week condensed summer course, it's very important to keep up with the work in a timely manner. It's very much in your interest not to leave all the work until the end of the week, to progress through it, give yourself time to work through the problems, think about the problems, digest the issues. Even if you think you can sort of take care of all of the assignments at the very end of the week, even if you're physically able to complete the task and get a decent score, I think it takes its toll psychologically or emotionally, and you're less able to perhaps enjoy or digest the material. Give yourself some time to sort of rest in between assignments. So good luck with the rest of the course this week, and please let me know if you have any questions about the exam.